right into it with old business. Mr. City Manager, anything old business?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's go to the new business, which is a consent agenda. Does anybody wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Council members? Okay, they all stay on. Would anybody from the public like to comment on consent agenda items 2 through 4? Okay, seeing none, let's close the public hearing on those and bring it back to council, and the motion will be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion?
Second.
And a second. All right. Break a pause there. All right, motion and a second. Lori, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Guthrie.
Aye.
Councilmember Hall Harrison.
Aye.
Councilmember Wurzel. Aye. Councilmember Wild.
Aye.
Mayor Loud.
Aye. Okay, now is the public period that we warned you about with the speaker cards. Would anybody like to address any item that's not on the, no, there's not that much on the agenda tonight. Any item at all, please come forward and take your 3 minutes.
I'm going to make this meeting drag on even longer. I'm Stacy Larson. I'm the director of the Maitland Public Library, and we are halfway through our summer reading program, so I want to invite you, your families, your neighbors, to come to our Pirate Quest Escape Room. We'll be doing this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the one after that. 30-minute appointments. You sign up on Sign Up Genius through our website. It's open to everyone ages 10 and up. You do not have to bring anyone who is a minor with you. But if you do bring minors, they must be at least 10, and they must be accompanied by an adult. Jen has been working on these puzzles for a year. She is so excited to be putting this together. We hope everybody does escape. Nobody has to walk. So please visit our website, www.maitlandpubliclibrary.org. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Stacy. Anybody else like to raise any item for the councils? Okay, let's close the public period. And, reports? Is this?
Yeah.
Mark, would you like to?
Yeah, so if I could jump into it real quick. As you recall, our last council meeting 2 weeks ago, we had a discussion at the end of the meeting regarding the budget and some of the constraints we're going to be facing in the coming year, and looking to the current budget and current projects as we did during our strategic planning session to see if there's any way we could generate some cost savings in the current year budget to assist with next year's budget. The one item I brought forward was the Domrick Sewer project and the sidewalks that were associated with those. So Kim Tracy, our Public Works Director, has spoken with the contractor, and the first issue that came up is would the subcontractor who's doing the sidewalks allow the contractor to release them from the obligation to do the sidewalks. The answer that came back to that was yes, they would. And putting a pencil to it, but still sharpening that pencil, our general contractor estimates there could be a potential $900,000, maybe a little bit more dollar cost savings if sidewalks were eliminated from basically looking at phases 3 and 4 of the project. The map that's up on the screen and that's in front of you sort of lays out how the sidewalk network lays out within the sewer district. If I can walk that through you real quick. Obviously the red are existing sidewalks. Some of those were existing prior to the sewer project. The sidewalk that goes up Ponca and Deloraine was done with phase 1 and next down Mohawk. The phase 2 sidewalk, City Council asked staff to come back to make recommendations on what sidewalks should stay, that makes sense to stay, looking toward obviously maximizing potential budget savings. So the sidewalks in green are the phases 2 through 4 sidewalks that number 1 are either under construction or are required to be reconstructed due to ADA. Thunder Trail to the far east of the project is under construction right now. Kawani needs to be reconstructed to meet the Florida Accessibility Code and the ADA. If you you do work on a road and you have an existing sidewalk that does not meet accessibility standards, you are required to bring it into compliance. So that green sidewalk, the sidewalk shown in green on the west side of Kewanee Trail, has to be reconstructed to meet ADA requirements. And the sidewalk segment from Deloraine Trail to Mohican Trail, we're recommending that we keep that in there for a couple reasons. Number one, the Deloraine Trail sidewalk doesn't have a logical terminus where it terminates now where the red meets the green at Macbeth. And it also ties into the Mohican Trail sidewalk project. It's going to be tied into the water line extension there, which ties all the way back into the sidewalks that connect back to the schools. That's one of the sidewalks that's been sort of on everybody's radar for the last 15 or 20 years as a heavily traveled road that a lot of children use to get from the neighborhood over to Mohican and then down to the elementary and middle schools. And that showed a little bit when we did our northeast area traffic study that there was a fair amount of traffic that does go down Deloraine. The sidewalks shown in purple are sidewalks that could be eliminated from the project. And so the question that I have for City Council is this a direction that we would like to take as we move forward? There is a timing issue. The contractor obviously needs to know as he's moving forward with the project whether these are going to be in or out. So we can prepare a change order to document that and free up that money. So the way it would work is that if this is something that you want to put on the table, we would put some notices together hastily to get them out to the affected residents, to let them know that there's going to be a discussion about whether we will be postponing sidewalk construction in the areas that are shown here. Then bring this up at the next meeting for a decision item. So you can take some public input if anybody are interested in showing up and make a decision at the next meeting. So with that, the direction that could be provided would be beneficial.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Does anybody have any questions, comments, and Mark, please?
My question would be, everything in purple, is it an all or nothing proposition, or could we make slight tweaks to what is proposed to be shown?
Yes, you can make changes. We'll need, if you're going to do that, we just need to get that to the contractor as quickly as we could to make sure that he would be able to pencil that out for us.
The only one I'm really looking at that I wonder if it is worthwhile is the long extension along Chippewa. Because I feel like that does have a logical connection on both ends. But, you know, again,
I agree with you. Okay. So I agree. I talked to Mark about this, and to me, the ones that they all make sense, because I think sidewalks make sense. But Nakoma and Chippewa to me made the most sense, because Chippewa, and again, things change with different ages of kids. I know that from my own block, but I know that Chippewa used to be a heavily trafficked route for kids. And I was telling Mark that Mohawk goes down to that dip, and I think Chippewa is just a street that a lot of kids come down to go to schools on. So to me, that one makes sense, and then Nakoma makes just some sense because it's a little bit of a,
and it's connecting.
yeah. So those are the two that,
I agree.
if we're going to look at ones to put on a priority to save, I would think those would be logical to put on a priority to save. I also think that one of the rules was you want to be a block from the sidewalk, right? Wasn't that one of the?
Yeah, for the
and the shorter segments, we all get there, and then the other one on the other side of Kewanee, one side of Kewanee is going to have it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, so those would be my thoughts.
And it looks like we could have it on part of Chippewa, not part of it, to kind of, just to have it like one block away. Like I can kind of see, you know, where, just because of the unique way that it curves around and, you know, kind of create like a path to go over to Mohawk, you know, if that makes sense. draw a diagram later.
I think that, I would go all the way.
I'm just saying, like, in terms of the interest of.
So you're saying come up Ponca, take the turn on Chippewa,
Yeah.
proceed that one block to Tacoma, and then tie back down south into Mohawk. So you'd just be coming around. the corner.
Yeah, and part of it is I don't know how much money, like, this is saving versus not saving, whether it's worth it to do things that way or not, you know, but I'm looking at Mohawk where it kind of turns into Chippewa and it curves around because you have that sort of curve where there are no sidewalks around. So if I was on that sidewalk, the existing sidewalk on Mohawk, and I wanted to get to the school, I either have to go down Chicopee or I have to go on Chippewa, and neither of them have sidewalks if I was coming that direction. So you could ostensibly create like a little path. But again, that would only be if that were, since the whole point is saving money, if that were saving, because it would leave quite an extensive,
So I talked to Mark about this also, and I did ask him though how much he thinks he would save with this proposed plan, and it was, I think you said 800 mark, right? So it looks like what we're saying is if we did half, we'd still do half of what's on here in the purple. So, I mean, that would, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
But I'm saying we'd save about 400. I think that was your question. Like, I don't know how much we would save.
For that portion.
I mean, if we did what y'all are saying, you know, do the Chippewa part, and I think there was another one, Chinook or something you were saying.
Tacoma.
Yeah, Tacoma. Then, would you agree with that, Mark? That would.
Yeah, it looks like this would be a little bit less than half would be done. So we'd say a little bit more than half, or not being able to scale it out right now.
Yeah, and I told Mark also, I said, I'm not going to try to pretend like I know this area, because y'all know it a lot better than I do, since y'all live there. So I'm just kind of going with, you know, listening to you guys tonight, what your thoughts are.
Yeah, and I think we're all on the same page in terms, but just for clarity, I mean, it's really not, I think we all agree that it'd be ideal if there were sidewalks on all of these lines. That's part of our eventual plan anyway, and none of this is to say, even if we do ultimately decide to scrap parts of this, that isn't like forever thing by any means. So, you know, any of the sort of alterations we're suggesting, you know, I'm only speaking for myself, but I assume really for everybody that it would be just to kind of make sure that we can do what we can for safety purposes, knowing that this is an area where a lot of children traverse to school, you know, while being conscientious of our new budget challenges.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it though, and I'm looking at it, because I remember a lot of the kids that used to come up from McIntosh and Long Haven and then hook up into Chippewa and come down. So I would think, Dominic did a walk and roll down Chippewa. It was one of the route, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually my neck of the woods, and not only do I live nearby here, but when I am physically active, I do walk, you know, right down the sort of Chippewa Mohawk section, and so even my actual behavior, so if I have my kids or something, or depending on what I'm doing, is to kind of cross over to where there are sidewalks, because I am a nervous Nelly about walking in the street or riding bikes in the street. So, you know, I think for me, it's very easy to imagine that as long as there's sort of a route that you can get from point A to point B while going on a sidewalk, even if that is sort of out of the way. Or
I just think if you're going to start Chippewa, I'd finish it. That'd be my thought. If you're going to do it all the way, connect it all the way through to Thistle. I get your point. I get the point of having a way to get to the Mohawk sidewalk, but I would try to continue it all. If we're gonna save it, I would continue it on. Tough choices though.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment as well. I think the ones that we might consider keeping are Chippewa and Tacoma, because they seem to be the most heavily trafficked by cars, which is really what we want to avoid. Kewanee, it seems to me like we could lose almost in any case, because we're going to have a sidewalk right across the street anyway on the west side. And there may be, and I'm no sidewalk engineer, but since you're going to end up saving all those curb cuts and, you know, by taking off Kiwanis Trail here on Chinook, here on, as it goes all the way through, I mean, there's a lot of start and stop there, and I think that's engineering-wise and also construction-wise, that is not as easy as just paving all the way through. It's like on Chippewa, it's just long stretches of straightaway there, so it seems like it should be less expensive to keep that than it would be to versus keep it on the one trip. But that's something for the contractor and subs to figure out. So, Mark, does that get you what you need? We should take this up as a decision item next meeting?
Yes, sounds like there's enough to move this forward for a decision item, but as we go back and talk to contractor, we'll, at least for discussion purposes for the next meeting, leave Nakoma and leave Chippewa and give us a price for the rest. I think we'll probably have a pretty good price for everything, so we'll be able to compare what those two are going to be. So I'm going to provide both of those to you.
Right, so we'll notify the people on Chinook and Huron and Chicopee and Kiwanis that they've probably already been notified that they're getting a sidewalk. I guess we'll now notify them that that's
Kiwani has one
discussion.
included, right?
Yeah,
Oh, the other half of Kiwani,
Yeah.
I see, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
While I have an apt audience, like, the Thunder Trail, because that's actually the other place I used to live. I don't know what studies have been done there, but there's very rarely traffic down that one. Is that I understand kind of that there's no connecting, none of those connecting roads have sidewalks either. But is that one that's easier to scrap than Chippewa?
No, that was actually more difficult
Okay.
because it's already partially constructed.
Oh, okay. That's when you said okay.
I think your point too, John, I don't know, you know, I'm not in the, but that does seem like the east side of Kiwani would be expensive to build.
Yeah.
So, and from a cost saving standpoint, you probably get some value out of it.
Yeah, the reason we put it on Kiwani because that is by far the heaviest traveled road in this part of the neighborhood.
Right. Okay. All right, does that do it for you?
Yep, that'll do it. I have
Other items?
a couple of quick announcements. We have some upcoming city activities on Wednesday, July 10th at 8:30 a.m. We have Coffee with a Cop. The Maitland Police Department will host Coffee with a Cop at Starbucks, Maitland City Center, across the street here. So that's always a good time. Plenty of caffeine to be had there, a lot of good conversation. Also on July 27th and 28th, the Parks and Rec Department is putting together a summertime event called Jingle in July. It's a new event that will have holiday-themed family activities with bubble snow, inflatable decorations, sparkling lights to bring a little bit of the holidays to the middle of the summer. They'll be done in conjunction with the movie in the park, which will be Nightmare Before Christmas, and that's all going to be on Saturday night on the 27th. And then the farmers market the next day on Sunday will feature holiday-themed vendors, merchandise, some bounce houses that are also themed, and Santa will be there
Oh, my
in his summer garb. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yes. Dressed for the season. So just try to keep something going with the events during the summer. Also on July 20th at 9 o'clock, Parks to celebrate Parks and Rec Month, Parks and Rec Department will be hosting a special event at the community park with some free classes, prize giveaways, balloon artist, face painter, food and refreshments to celebrate Parks and Rec Month. So that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. City Attorney?
I have nothing, sir.
Okay. Awesome. Nothing. Council, anybody? Okay. All right. Well, we are adjourned.